Greetings, it's I, Tentus Van Dracovin, your Lord Emperor here at the Dracovin Empire, and welcome, one and all. Are you ready to dive into the Pathfinder role-playing game system once again? We're going to be heading back into the Golarion today. We're going to be talking about another ancestry, but this one, of course, we're diving back into humans. Yes, we're going to be talking about another ethnicity of humans on Golarion, since they are the most populous and have the most amount of different ethnicities. I've been doing a video for each of their own. Give them the utmost respect. So that's what we'll be doing today. If you are watching me, of course, either live or later on YouTube, hello everybody. The live people will be over there. You YouTube people, please do remember to do all the YouTube stuff to keep things working and functioning on the things, liking, ringing the bell, subscribing, all that crap. And of course, for comments for either side, my question today is, have any of you out there played someone that is of the Garundi ethnicity? So you're from Northern Garund. Technically from Garund in general. So it is one of the major ethnicities in Garund. But again, we're going to dive into all of that today. And the most place I start out with any of these videos that I really like doing, because I think it's a good way to connect you together with my sources and information, is some books. Honestly, because you can do further research than I'm just talking about today. If you want to dive into deeper and some sources that might be able to give you more context to things around. And of course, the Pathfinder campaign settings, where I could recommend from 1st edition, along with the Inner Sea World Guide and the Inner Sea Races, which is a little bit more on humans, too. Alright, so let's actually get started talking about the humans that are known as Garundi humans. They are the most common on the continent of Garund. Though you can actually find people of the Garundi ethnicity, of descent of Garundi, of Garund, throughout much of the Inner Sea region. If you look at one of them, they actually are among, on average, the tallest humans in Golarion. So they also have this kind of darker skin, sharp cheekbones, broad shoulders. Many of them have premature bright white hair. Culturally, they normally favor colorful clothes that are practical but beautiful regardless of how far they are from Garund. Men will wear bright long robes, kilts, pointed hats, sashes. Women can be dressed in billowing blouses, decorative scarves, wraps. Even Garundi in far-off lands will try to incorporate traditional clothes into their outfits. It doesn't mean that their fashions are culturally orthodox. If you're living in Northern Garund, for instance, many will incorporate Kelishite modes of dress into their appearance. Some Garundi living in Vudra will adhere to many local fashions. But no matter where they live, however, and since temperature can vary a lot, they dress in layers that make it easy to adapt their clothing to the appropriate temperature of where they're living. Now, the origin of the Garundi people is thought to be farther south in the continent, and that they migrated north, but the exact time period of when that occurred is unknown. It is certain that in ancient times, probably the Age of Darkness, maybe the Age of Anguish, the Garundi people as we know it established themselves and became basically the founders of many of the most advanced civilizations in the Inner Sea region at the time. This, of course, included ancient Osirian, the Jiska Imperium, the Shori, and the Terracanian League. So these ancient civilizations, all very major ones, founded by the Garundi people. Now, ruins of pre-Earthfall Garundi civilizations do dot the continent, but little is known about them. There isn't a lot of stuff that's been gleaned from this history. Their subsequent history has been basically no less illustrious, though. They are the founders and main inhabitants of many of the modern nations in Northern Garund, places like Osirian, Thuvia, Rahadum, the Great Duchy of Alkenstar, and they do form ethnic majority, or at least a very sizable minority in a lot of places like Absalom, Geb, Kapatesh, Dex. Many Garundi have actually migrated throughout southern Avestian, where they can be found in small numbers. So, similarly speaking, if you are anywhere in the Inner Sea region, you very easily could run into a person of Garundi ethnicity, and it would just be a normal thing for you. It's just a thing that's there. They are just another group, slightly different culturally, that's there in a lot of places. Speaking of culture, there are some cultural structures, the way they do things. And the thing is, Garundi, generally speaking, if you look at them overall culturally, are renowned as being friendly and helpful people, that they set their culture around small familial clans that generally consist of 15 to 20 families. These clans form the basic unit of their society. And this is unlike other cultures which tend to be built around the concept of family, to a good degree, because there are hierarchies of the clan. And these hierarchies are very complex and rarely understood completely by outsiders of that clan. So two different clans of Garundi, could have different hierarchies that you're not going to understand each other, even though you are both of Garundi ethnicity of descent. In the same retrospect, there is a complex hierarchy among the different clans, even those that inhabit the same area. Now, due to the migratory nature of many of the Garundi people, clans can move frequently and enter others' territories. The older customs basically govern how the clans treat each other when they meet. A clan entering another clan's area is treated as an honored guest for the first month they stay. After that, the new clan must either move on or pay a heavy tribute to the dominant clan in the area. The new clan then continue to pay this tribute for an entire year. If they do for an entire year, they are accepted into the community at basically the lowest social level of that community. Because clans to a new geographic area must always subjugate them to the clans present, landless clans tend to wander the world searching for places of their own. This journey can take years or generations. The clans will carry mementos from anywhere they've temporarily sojourned. These physically reminds them, physical reminders are often incorporated into the clan's tales and artwork. Now, because all Garundi clans are associated with a specific geographical area, an individual's name always incorporates a local landmark. The higher rank the person is, the larger and more well-known that geographical name tends to be. Higher rank can carry larger territories or geographical features such as rivers, mountains, and regions. Mid-range names will be local landmarks, waterfalls, neighborhoods, important buildings, while of lower rank Garundi can carry a local street, a statue, a tree, generally near to where they were born. First names tend to be bi- or trisyllabic, and always end in a vowel. There's some common female names, male names, and some gender-neutral names that do exist if you want to look them up. Most Garundi speak the common language of Northern Garund, Osirani. Though many of them are fluent in Taldane, though at least. It's Taldane, it's the common language in the RC region, so plenty of them are of that. Now, Garundi seem to be particularly fond of Golarion's elder deities, or those that at least have special ties to their homelands. Gozura, Nethys, Pharasma, Serenre, and Ugratha are very popular deities. Most widely worshipped, actually, among the Garundi is Nethys, who is Garundi himself before achieving divinity. And that's the god of magic, so keep that in mind. But, yeah. That's about it to say about the Garundi ethnicity, because, again, the fact is, I could talk about plenty of the countries they've come to settle, but each of the countries develops on its own and kind of alters the culture to its own. This is the basic culture of these people. The basic way they originally developed as a single ethnicity, and from here out evolves into the various cultures of the various nations, especially in Northern Garund. Individuals will probably reflect a combination of the original ethnicity and the ethnicity from where they're from. You have to think of that, like, certainly speaking, there are to an ethnicity in a region, there's usually cultural similarities. After that, when you go into the various regions, those similarities break apart. I guess a good example might be like some of the Native American tribes had some similarities in the way they basically looked at things. Granted, again, differences against a vast continent as big as the North America, and even like places in South America for the Native Americans in that region, there were vast differences in culture. But like in regions, find similarities. Northern Garund is a singular region. It is cut off from the Mwangi Expanse. That region is very interconnected still. The people there are connected still. They are of the original ethnicity there. They have developed separately in the regions they're in. Scandinavia. The Scandinavian countries have some similar ways that they go about things, but each country in Scandinavia has their own unique version of that culture. And I think that's the way you kind of have to think about it, is that there is an ethnicity here, Garundi. But when you go to the individuals, it's both you are Garundi, you are from a nation, and then you look at it. Certainly, probably plenty of families in major cities and things like that have already settled down. Your clan has been there for generations. You're not moving in. It's just that when you see it, if you are with your family, your clan still, and you're moving somewhere, you're moving as a large group. Think of it that way. As an individual, you can really go anywhere. And probably if you go to outside Northern Garund, into Vastia, into other regions of the Inner Sea, you might not see larger clan families anymore. You might see smaller clan families, or even just individual families. Individuals. It's just not unheard of to find, you're of Garundi descent in somewhere in Avastia in the southern parts. Haldane, Cheliax, probably parts of Varisia, probably going even as far as to places like Kazmaron and such like that. You could probably find people of Garundi descent. But again, they're Garundi, and they're also whatever country they came from. They are both those things. Because one is the first temper, and the second is the second temper. I hope I've discussed that in the correct way. It's an interesting thing of, certainly a lot of times you will see something like the Taldane ethnicity, which is directly linked with the Taldane region and the Taldane Empire as it was, and that spread out and resulted in other ethnicities. It's the fact that almost differently, the Garundi ethnicity remains strong in a lot of ways because it is spread out and there may be other ethnicities, but they have been a kind of dominant part of the people culture in that region that they come from. That they are all connected in a way has been part of their cultural identity. We are separate, we are different nations, we have slightly different beliefs, but we're still connected together to a degree. And I think that's something that we can see in this ethnicity more than some of the other two ethnicities. And that's, I think, very interesting. Anyway, we'll leave it here today. I hope you enjoyed diving into this. It's fun to talk about ancestries in general, but I like talking about the human ancestries, the ethnicities of them in Golarion, because it's also interesting to see how, in different circumstances, the humans, who are very dominant on Golarion, have developed very differently and created differences that, mark interesting cultures. I think that's the best way I say it. They all mark very interesting and unique cultures, which are very fun to learn about. You want to see more tabletop stuff? My videos are usually Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. Saturdays a backup day. If I miss any of those, Thursdays is the Pathfinder day where I talk about those topics. Everything goes up on YouTube later on. That's on Twitch for those time periods, usually early afternoon. Wednesdays, 9 p.m. EST, that's Crimson Queen, my live play of Pathfinder 1st Edition, where we're in Varisia. We're doing a version of the Crimson Throne adventure pack. Saturdays at 6 p.m. is Discussing Tabletop. We talk about news of the week and discussion topics on tabletop in general, which are very interesting, very fun. Always dive into them. I have social media, Discord, Twitter, link below. And I think that's all the balance should have on something. Hey, everybody, do your best, enjoy your time. I hope you loved learning about this. Remember to support the channel. you know, I like doing these videos. I've been doing them live on Twitch for a while now because it makes it a little easier for me to get them into my schedule. I can drag my ass to a little bit, you know, oh, I have to hit this button here, and then I have to do some things, you know, it's a schedule. If I could do it at any time, I'd probably do it less. Digressing here. Anyway, until the next time we chat about anything, I bid all of you out there a deep and wonderful farewell.